All right, let's just jump straight into it. Today, we're going to break down one of the most powerful and, honestly, most practical tools for strategic planning, the Ansoff Matrix. If you've ever been in a meeting wondering, okay, where do we actually go from here to grow? Well, this is your playbook.
So, here's how we're going to tackle this, just like a real consultant's briefing. We'll kick things off with the basic roadmap. Then, we'll dive deep into the 4 paths to growth. From there, we'll lay out an actual execution plan, cover the big mistakes to avoid, look at a killer real-world example with Apple, and then we'll wrap it all up with a final thought.
Okay, first things first, the growth roadmap. It's so easy for a business to just say, we want to sell more, right? But that's not a strategy. That's a wish. A real strategy is about choosing how you're going to get there, and that's exactly what this framework is designed to do.
So what exactly is the Ansoff Matrix? It was actually developed way back in 1957, but don't let the date fool you. This is not some dusty old business theory. It's a super practical grid that forces you to get crystal clear by boiling down every growth decision to 2 fundamental variables, your products and your markets. Basically, it asks, are we going to win with what we already have or with something new? And are we selling to our current fans or finding a whole new audience?
And here it is, the matrix itself. I know, it looks almost too simple, doesn't it? A basic 2x2 grid, but trust me, its power is in that simplicity. Inside these 4 little boxes, you have the 4 fundamental ways any business on Earth can grow. Seriously, every successful company you can think of is using one of these strategies, whether they call it that or not.
All right, so let's get into the good stuff. Let's really unpack these 4 paths to growth. We're going to walk through each of these quadrants one by one, and you'll start to see how the risk and the potential reward builds as we move through them. Okay, path number 1, market penetration. Think of this as the home turf strategy. It is by far the safest path because you're not trying to reinvent the wheel. You're just doubling down on what you already do well with the customers who already know and hopefully love you. So how do you actually do this? Well, the game here isn't about invention. It's about optimization and dominance. It means getting smarter with your marketing, squeezing more efficiency out of your operations, and focusing obsessively on loyalty to get those repeat buys. It's all about stealing a bigger slice of the pie from your competitors. All right, moving on to the next box, product development. Now, this is where things get a little more interesting. You're still talking to your existing customer base, but this time you're going to sell them something brand new.
The logic here is pretty brilliant, right? You're essentially de-risking a new product launch because you're selling it to a warm audience. It's not a wild guess. You're using your data, your relationships, everything you already know about them to figure out what they need next. The classic example is a shoe company that starts selling socks. It just makes sense. Okay, strategy number 3 is market development. This is kind of the mirror image of the last one. Here, you're sticking with your proven, tried-and-true product, but you're going hunting for a completely new group of people to sell it to.
So this could be expanding into a new city or a new country or maybe even a totally different demographic. It's like finding a new pond for your very successful fish. But, and this is a big but, you can't just assume what worked before will work again. New markets have new rules, new cultures, new needs. You have to do your homework. And that brings us to the final quadrant, diversification. Okay, this is the high-stakes, all-or-nothing move. It's the riskiest play on the board by a long shot because you're stepping into the great unknown with a brand new product for a brand new market.
This is where you see some of the most epic business wins and the most spectacular flameouts. The classic cautionary tale is Atari. They were the undisputed kings of video games, but when they tried to jump into personal computers, they got absolutely crushed. Why? Because they were going up against giants like Apple and IBM on turf that wasn't their own. It's a huge warning sign. Don't wander into a battle you're not equipped to win.
And look, this risk isn't just a gut feeling. The data is pretty stark. Your chance of failure is lowest with market penetration. It jumps to about a coin flip, 50-50, for the development strategies. But with diversification, you're looking at a staggering 80% chance of failure. This chart right here is why you have to be brutally honest about the risks before you make a big move.
So knowing the 4 options is great, but just knowing them is not enough. The real magic, what separates the winners from the losers, is in the execution. So let's put on our consultant hats and walk through how you actually turn this simple grid into a powerful action plan. A good consultant never lets you just jump to the exciting idea. No, it's a methodical process. Step 1, you look inward. What are we really good at? What cash do we actually have? Step 2, you analyze all 4 quadrants, no skipping ahead. And step 3, you get real about the risk. You put a number on it. This whole process keeps you grounded in reality, not wishful thinking.
You know, I've seen so many brilliant strategies just die a slow, painful death during execution. That's tough to watch. So let's talk about the most common traps people fall into, and more importantly, how you can sidestep them.
The biggest pitfall? I absolutely love this term, the puppy approach. You know, when a company tries to chase every single shiny object at once, it is a guaranteed recipe for failure. You spread your people, your money, your focus way too thin. The consultant's rule is the polar opposite, the single bold stroke. Pick one primary strategy and pour your resources into it to create an overwhelming, undeniable impact. And here are a few other classics. The diversification trap, jumping into a new field where you have zero right to win. Ignoring cannibalization, that's when your shiny new product just eats sales from your existing ones. And a personal favorite, marketing myopia, the arrogant belief that your brand name is a magic wand that guarantees success anywhere. They all come from the same place, a little bit of hubris and a lack of deep customer understanding.
Okay, enough theory. Let's look at a company that gets this right time and time again. There is no better case study for the Ansoff Matrix in action than Apple. They are absolute masters of this playbook.
Just look at this, it's incredible. They're not just picking one box, they're playing in all 4 at the same time. For market penetration, you have their iPhone trade-in programs to keep existing users locked in and upgrading. For product development, they launch things like the Apple Watch to that same loyal base. Market development, that's them opening stores and pushing into huge new markets like India. And diversification, well, that's Apple TV Plus or the rumored car. That's how you build a resilient, ever-growing empire.
So to bring this all home, let's end with a final thought from the man who created this whole framework, Igor Ansoff himself.
He said, strategy is a thin layer of gum over a thick layer of chaos. And I just think that's perfect. The Ansoff Matrix, that's your thin layer of gum. It gives you structure, clarity, a plan. But never forget that underneath it all is the chaos of the real world. Your success isn't just about having the right map. It's about how well you navigate the messy, unpredictable journey.